Hey, good afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Travis Meyer from News on 6, and I have a special group with me on our Wild Weather Wednesday. And it's finally a time that I'm not speaking by myself, and I get to interview some fantastic people that are with the Bull 98.5. Now, here's something that I think that a lot of folks like, and you probably already know if you know me, that I love country life. I love country music. I love living in the country, so to speak, even though I'm kind of in the city because I'm surrounded by housing additions. But it is a fantastic thing when you love country music and you have some great talent that is right in Tulsa. And really, they're just right underneath me, so to speak, because what they are is in our building. And the whole bottom floor is all of our radio stations. And one of them is basically we call it the new 98.5, The Bull. And we have the chance to interview the morning show team, which a lot of you will be familiar with Amber Glaze. Amber has been with us for a while, but we have Ty and Daniel, which have joined the staff now. And so we get the opportunity to interview them. We get to ask them questions. And if you have questions and want to ask them questions, you get to as well, because you can just come along with us while we're streaming. I do know that maybe there might be a few delays here and there, but we'll make sure that we get as many questions answered as possible. We'll try to get through a lot of things. I want to interview the guys first because the morning team is, if you haven't listened to them, this is going to be your opportunity to find out more about them. And if you have listened to them, we're going to, I'll say, delve deep into their life and find out a little bit more about what makes them tick and why they are doing what they're doing and trying to make everybody smile, even in the middle of COVID. So as we get started, first of all, welcome, guys. I'm glad you're with me today. And none of you are going to quit, are you, just because I'm the weather guy interviewing you? Is that a problem at all?
No, this is an honor, Travis. It's you've been so nice to us, and thank you for doing this for us.
All right. Hey, I'm going to start with Amber. I want to start with Beauty Before the Beast, if that's okay. So, Amber, if you would you start by just telling us a little bit about your life and about what made you get into radio and try to make people happy in the morning and doing what you do? And I know your spirit is wonderful, but what did you do to start off with, and how did you get here?
Travis, I did like about 100 things, I feel like. I once owned a wedding cake company and did that for a living. And I was a fitness instructor at one point. Radio happened by complete accident for me. And I just fell in love with it. I've only been in the business 7 or 8 years. But boy, when I got bitten by the radio bug, it bit me hard. And it has taken me all over the United States. I'm originally from Arkansas, a Little Rock girl. Woo Pig Suey, go Razorbacks. And then I ended up in Florida for a while, and then in Wichita, Kansas, back to Little Rock. And then I was recruited to come here. And I love Tulsa. We've been here 2 years now.
That is awesome. Okay, and I'm sure we're going to ask you a lot more questions coming up as well. But Daniel, we'll just start with you since you're alphabet first. So we'll just go with Daniel. Daniel, if you would, give me a little bit of your background. I know you guys are together, so you almost need to talk together, but I'm scared to have you talk together because you'll spend the next hour talking, because I know you guys when I hear you on the radio. So if you would, Daniel, would you start with just you, and then we'll kind of talk about how you guys got together, because I wrote down some stuff. You had a fantastic history, but I just want to hear from you first.
Yeah, I'm from Alabama. Have you ever seen that documentary Forrest Gump?
Are you related?
That took place in Alabama, so that's where I'm from. And I went to school at Auburn University, and I got a degree in radio, television, and film because I wanted to be a waiter. And that didn't work out, so now I'm on the radio.
You wanted to eat shrimp, didn't you? Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to work for the shrimp company. Yeah. But now I'm here in Tulsa. I live with my roommate. He's a dog. His name is Fenton, so you'll probably hear him. He's decided to get a squeaky toy while we're trying to do this. So if he gets loud, if he starts running amok, let me know and I'll stop him.
Okay, fair enough. But hey, it is again. I'll get you guys all on here in a minute because I do want to hear a little bit of your history together. But Ty, if you would you join us as well and tell us a little bit more about what your the history of where you came from, what you've been doing.
So me and Daniel are from Alabama. We were educated in the Alabama public school system, so we're not that bright. Alabama's not known for its great education systems, but it's true that we went to Auburn University. We graduated. I know, shocker. And then I actually hired Daniel for his first job in radio. I was running the radio stations, hired him, and then we just became buds. And then year after year after year, we got a new job. Was Nashville last time, and now we're in Tulsa.
Okay, so you guys, your history pretty much just goes from Alabama, and then did you know each other when you were at Auburn?
We didn't. We knew all the same people, but I never met him until we graduated. I don't know how that happened, but then we knew all the exact same people. So I don't know if we were just avoiding each other or what. I don't think we've gotten along in college, to be honest.
Well, that's what's kind of amazing to me, because you guys have a history, and I had it printed out, and Sawyer, I think it's still on the printer, but like from 2010 on, you guys have, you pretty much made a base out of Nashville. Is that right?
We did.
Yeah, we've been around, but yeah, Nashville was a long time for us. And actually, we were on here in Tulsa for many, many, many years, syndicated from Nashville on another station. And so there's a little bit of familiarity. I think people hated us, no doubt about that, Travis. Yes. But now we got Mornings on the Bull, and we're elated, and we love the city, and we're glad to be here.
Okay, now you guys got to tell me a little bit, because, I mean, there is some great stuff about you guys that are in here. You had Personality of the Year from CMA Country Music Awards nominated, and also from the Academy of Country Music. Can you give me just a little bit of information on how you guys pulled that off? Personality of the Year, that was on there as well. So how did that all happen?
We were just nominated, and what you do every year is you put together what they call an air check. It's about 5 minutes, and you submit it. And it's a great honor to be nominated. But then when you don't win, you have to call your parents and be like, we didn't win the CMA. So it's almost more awkward to get nominated than to not get nominated. Because then you put this big thing on Facebook like, hey, we were nominated. Then you have to be like, we didn't get it.
Yeah, but still.
It's happened to us, I think, 3 times now.
Yeah.
But it is pretty amazing. So you guys, how long have you guys been together as a team then? Like, say, since 2010? Since when?
That's right, 2010. So, but even before that, but as a team, we had always been on a radio station together, almost always. But when we finally got on the same show, that would be about 11 years now-ish. And what's cool, Travis, is that not many people, in broadcasting get to work with their friend. We were friends before we ever had a radio show. And like what you hear on the radio, it's not made up. It's not crap. I mean, it's like legitimately like me and Daniel were buds the whole time. And then we just got lucky enough to have a show together.
Okay, take me through this with you and Amber and all that, because obviously Amber is kind of an add to your duel that I don't know if you ever had a third person involved in your shows, but this is kind of probably unique since you guys have been together so much, and Amber is now part of that. And so do you guys like have to create a show in advance? Do you like take scripts and write down, hey, here's what we're going to do for the next day, and then try to practice so you don't end up with oh my gosh, that joke went south so badly? Do you guys prep for it? How do you make a morning show?
Well, if you've heard the show ever, you'll know that we don't prep. We'll kind of loosely pitch ideas the day before, but just like any kind of situation, the top story that day, you never can predict what it's going to be, the day of. But yeah, we'll do like a loose pitch, and we have some things that we do at the same time every week. So yeah, we prepare.
And it seems like, do you try to get a lot of sleep, or do you need a lot of sleep in order to be really sharp in the morning? Or do you guys just kind of sleep for 4 or 5 hours, get up early in the morning, come in, and then go take a nap in the afternoon? How do your days work?
I'm able to take a nap because I don't have any kids or any other responsibilities other than work. So I'm able to take a nap. I doubt that Amber does, since she has a son, and then Tyke also has a son. So I think they're. I don't know. Do you guys get a chance to take a nap, or what do y'all do?
Oh, honey, no, my napping days are over.
Well, Travis, it's also important to keep in mind, Daniel has nothing going on in his life. He's very lonely. So he can nap whenever he wants. But the rest of us, we have actual responsibilities. He's just got that dog over there, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, we get a little sleep, but I don't know if you had this, Travis. When I did a morning show when I was like 25, I could not get out of bed. Now that I'm in the 40s, it's easy to get out of bed at 4 a.m. I don't even think about it. It's just like, yeah, whatever. So you're on autopilot pretty much, you guys, since it's just been something that you guys do. I think so. Yeah. And I've talked. Go ahead.
I was going to say the odd thing about us, and I don't know how this happens sometimes, but we'll be like, one of us will say, man, I went to bed at like 7 o'clock last night. And then it seems like the other two also went to bed at 7, or we could be up till 11. You just never can tell. But going to bed at 7 o'clock is not a lot of fun.
No. And I've dealt with that with our morning meteorologists. Ellen Crone, and then also Stephen Narrens. And of course, Station 9 has had to do that morning show as well. And it's unbelievable the life that you guys have to lead. Of course, when I am leaving, a lot of times they are coming in and they say, you're leading a weird life because you're not getting home till midnight or 2 in the morning. But the thing is that in order to maintain, what do you guys do for energy to keep your shows alive and going? I mean, is it just part of are you almost on autopilot because you just got it? And so once you have it, you just know, hey, this is going to be great. Hey, this is going to be fun. What are you guys thinking about? What are you doing?
Oh, no. We try things all the time and they end up not being very funny. So, no, you just try your best.
Trash can?
Yeah.
Is that where it goes?
Can.
Yeah.
And, we all talk about it. And what's funny, Travis, is that somebody will come up with a topic and we were like, that's going to be an amazing topic. And then everybody hates it. And then you do something that you don't think anybody will like, and then everybody loves it. But we are we're never really off work, Travis. And maybe you feel like that with weather. We're always observing things. Oh, I could talk about that on the show. Oh, maybe I could do that on the show. So you're never really off the clock. And I know you probably feel that way in your situation where you're always having to survey what's going on in your world. So that's kind of like us as well. Okay.
I was wondering. Now, I'm going to ask you just a little bit about your Nashville days because you guys had the opportunity, and I'm not leaving Amber out of this, but it's obviously, I'm going to take it to Nashville for a little bit. What you guys got to interview, because Nashville's like home to basically all of our country people that grew up in Oklahoma learning how to sing, and then they all took off, went to Nashville. So then did you get to interview a lot of famous people just because they're right next to you?
Oh, we did.
Yeah, go ahead, Dana.
I think it would be easier for us to name the people that we haven't met in person than it would be to name everybody we had met, because everybody comes through. We would have so many interviews. Sometimes we would get tired of interviews. We'd be like, we got to interview Garth Brooks again, because in Nashville, they're all there all the time. I think the only people we haven't got to meet or even talk to, I think Dolly Parton would be a big one that we'd love to meet her. We never got to meet her. Who else, Ty, have we just not ever got to meet in person? We've never met Blake Shelton. We've talked to him on the phone a few times, but never got to meet him in person.
Yeah, Blake's one that was Travis, we just had him on the Bull, but when we were in Nashville, we never got to meet him. So, but I want to be clear here that these people did not come on our show because they liked us, Travis. They did it because we were half a mile down the road. I just want to make that clear to everybody. Okay.
Distance is relative in this situation. Okay.
Yes.
But how did you do that? I mean, is Nashville, and you haven't been in Tulsa that long yet, and obviously it's been during COVID, so you haven't had a chance to really feel the vibe, I guess, of the city of Tulsa, and of course the downtown area is obviously going to explode once the COVID is over with. But the situation is like, did you have to? Is Nashville just kind of more of a country place that, you just called them and they just came right on in, or just interviewed with them? I mean, is it a close-knit community? How is it compared to, say, what you know of Tulsa right now?
Well, we really don't know Tulsa yet because we don't know what it's like outside of the pandemic. We go out, maybe grab dinner occasionally, but we're really excited to see what it's like when Tulsa kind of opens up. Nashville was an industry town, so the record labels are all there, and so they want you to interview everybody. So for every Garth Brooks you interview, you're going to have to interview like the brand new guy, and sometimes the new guy turns out to be a Luke Combs or a Kane Brown. We had Kane Brown on once, and he was so nervous. I was like, I don't know if this guy's going to make it, because he was that nervous. He was shaking, and but it turns out he's a huge star now. So he's,
wow.
We got to really interview everybody under the sun.
That's pretty cool. Now, do you guys, I know Jason Aldean, did you get to interview Jason Aldean? He's probably one of my favorite newer artists.
Yeah, I could tell you a story, Travis. And Daniel, is it okay if I tell the story about the Bahamas?
That's fine with me. I mean, that's when we work for a different company. They can't refire us. So.
Right. They can't fire us again. So, Travis, what happened was they flew us down to the Bahamas to cover a Jason Aldean concert. And I was being really good that day, Travis. I was like, because down at the islands, you could get the drinking at like 11 in the morning if you're not careful, because it's all free. And so I had decided I'm going to be responsible. except that I ran into Jason Aldean by accident, and he's like giving me shots, and I'm drinking, and like there's a little peer pressure. Like I don't want to be like mean to Jason Aldean and say I'm not going to hang out with you.
Yeah.
But remember, Travis, I'm there for the reason to see that concert and then later report on it. After an afternoon of drinking, I went back to my room and missed the entire concert. Thanks to Jason Aldean himself. He was able to go home and shower and get on stage. I went home and just went to bed, I guess. I don't know what happened. But it was not good.
It was not one of those shining moments there, huh? Now, so did you guys get to travel very much and do things like that? Or were they really kind of unique periods where you got to go and schmooze, so to speak?
Yeah, Tig and I, unfortunately, have gone to Sandals together more times than I'd like to mention. Sandals is a very romantic place if you're not with your buddy. so it's all these married people getting engagement photos, and then just Tig and I. And,
like what the heck? But really,
Florida Georgia Line got us to go out to New York City once for one of their album launches. So yeah, we used to get to travel quite a bit.
Okay, because I just think that's pretty cool. And then I'm going to kind of switch gears here, and I'll go back to Amber since I haven't talked to her for a second. Amber, can you tell us, like, what you have a child? So obviously, I pretty much know what you do in your spare time. Plus, you've been doing cooking segments for us on our 4:00 show. So, do you have any other spare time where you do anything else? Or does that pretty much take up everything?
Well, yeah. I'm a project girl. I like to have a lot of projects going at one time. I think I've always been that way. So I also run a cookie subscription company where I do homemade baked cookies, and I pack them and ship them all over the nation.
Really?
Yeah. It's called Self-Care Cookie Club.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So when the pandemic started, my grandmother used to send cookies to us in the mail. And it was like a really special thing when she would send them to us. And she would always just like pack them in real popcorn in a shoebox that was lined with tissue paper. And we'd get these in the mail, and it was popcorn and Nanny's cookies, and they were awesome. So I started sending them to friends during the pandemic just to like sort of brighten their day. And next thing I know, it's a full-fledged business. And so that keeps me very busy. And I've been writing a book for the last year. So
really,
I stay busy. Yeah.
You're going to write it on Tig and Daniel. You probably have a multi chapters, I would say, just on their goofiness, huh?
They're the sequel, the show.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I had no idea about that. Tig, I'm going to ask you the same thing. So obviously you have family, so you have a lot of things going on. But what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, Travis, I love airplanes. I feel very dorky saying that, but I got my pilot's license when I was like in high school. And Daniel says that I'm a huge dork because I love airplanes. Yet he sits around playing games where he pretends to be in a war. Like, that's super dorky, right?
Daniel.
Listen, he's talking about video games, I don't just like pretend to be in a war. It's a video game.
He says that I'm a dork because I like to fly planes, yet he goes home and pretends like he's a soldier. Like, it's not even a real soldier. You tell me who's the dork, Travis.
Don't get me started on this guy. Tig will also play video games. He has a flight simulator.
Oh.
And now he's not flying around like in World War II, or he's not the Red Baron. It's simply a flight simulator where he just takes off from like St. Louis and lands in Atlanta and then turns around and goes back. It's like work. It's not even, I don't get it.
Like, what are you doing?
Right.
No, that's cool to me. But Daniel, goes home and plays fake war or something, then acts like girls are going to like him. I don't get it. Like, whatever.
Tig goes home and puts on that weird sweater. He looks like a poet. And he goes and plays the most boring video games in the world.
I like this sweater.
Robert Frost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking good there. Well, okay. So obviously then I'll just say, Dan, you probably play video games. That's your spare time then. Is that what we're saying?
No, this is going to sound odd to you, but the main thing that I do when I get off work is I walk my dog up and down the river here over on Riverside Drive. And I'll probably walk about 5 miles a day.
Oh,
okay. A podcast or, things like that. So I like to get out. I don't like it today because it's the coldest day ever.
This hurts. This does hurt a little bit. I will say that. This is kind of a rotten day to be out there doing too much of anything. But okay, so now next question is, I'm going to just ask you, obviously we kind of asked, or we got a little bit of an embarrassing moment. But Amber, what would one word be that would describe yourself?
Awkward.
Okay.
I
what about you?
have the word awkward tattooed on my arm. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but I really
awkward?
Awkward. Yes, it says that for real.
Okay. Why is that tattooed on your arm?
Because my friends and I decided we were going to get a tattoo. There might have been day drinking involved. And we were supposed to get the one word we felt best described us. And I was the only friend who kept it real and got the actual correct word, because I am super awkward. I mean, I will fall down in public more than anyone else you know, Travis.
Okay. Interesting. And you've got it labeled so you can't ever forget who you are. I like that.
Yeah, that's it's fair.
Tyke, what about you?
Gorgeous.
Okay, so that you prove that you're as big a liar as a weather person. Okay, good. Yeah.
No, I'm a nervous wreck. So I would say nervous. I'm very nervous all the time. I'm scared to death all the time, Travis. I'm nervous talking to you. I was nervous thinking about doing this. I was nervous thinking about doing this. So yeah, I'm a nervous guy.
Well, it doesn't show. So that's pretty impressive that you covered that up. Daniel, what would yours be?
Oh, hilarious. Probably would be it. You can tell Tig was nervous how he prepared. He looks like he's sitting there in a Russian prison and is. What is going on, Tig? Are you under? Are you under a bridge? Where are you?
I'm in. That's messed up to make fun of my house, man.
You look like you're in a doctor's office.
Shame on you, man. This is my home. It's where I'm raising my son.
It's a great home.
Yeah,
man, he's a lucky boy.
Got a lot of color to it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So, Tig, okay, where did you get that name?
So a lot of people think that I made this up for the radio because, people on the radio, they're most of them are terrible, and they come up with names like Lizard and Johnny Lizard or whatever,
Yeah.
And people go, "What? Well, dang, you came up with that name, Tig." I would have never done that to myself, Travis. I was born, and from infancy, I've been called Tig, and it's a Gaelic name for Timothy. So in the Irish language, Gaelic language, Timothy translates to Tig, and that's why my parents named me. And it's not a made-up name; it's the real deal, Don. Yeah.
See, the weather office, we all voted, and we thought that you were just a brother of the Tiger King. So we just thought that you dropped the R, and he ended up with Tiger, and you ended up with Tig. But that's not.
Yeah, he's way hotter than me. Yeah, no way I'm related to that handsome devil.
I think you could kind of get your hair to flow in that same direction, and you would look almost the same there. But I thought that was a unique name. So when I first heard the show, I said, "Oh no, I agree with everybody that it sounds like no, that's a unique. So unique, it's almost too unique." So that's very interesting. Okay, and do you get in trouble for it, or do everybody love it, or what?
No, people hate it. But I will tell you this, and you're a broadcaster. In the end, though, it always has helped me because, like Daniel's name is just bland and just Daniel.
Yeah.
But when you hear a Tig, you kind of go, that must be the guy on the radio, Tig, because you're not going to see a lot of other Tigs or hear a lot of other Tigs. So in that sense, once people get familiar with us, I think it ends up kind of good. It's unique in that sense. And then Daniel, he's useless, and it's just a boring name.
Yeah, it's just there. Daniel, do you have any defense of your name at this point?
Well, it's from the Bible, so I think the Bible is boring. That's fine.
Man.
Burn.
Okay, I think that pretty much covers that. You don't need to say you drop the mic on that one. And just go ahead, Daniel.
Travis, I was going to tell you, Tig claims that he gets recognized all the time. He's like, man, I was at the grocery store the other day. Everybody's recognizing me. I know for a fact no one has ever recognized him, but he claims that he gets recognized on a daily basis.
Well, if he goes around with that sweater, I'm sure a lot of people are going to now know who he is. So that's
a lot of poet laureates recognize him. But
it's going to happen. All right. And I want anybody who's joining us right now, I wanted to mention, if you have questions, I've asked a lot of questions, but if you have questions for our morning crew, again, this is for 98.5 The Bull. And if you're joining us, we appreciate you joining us for the time and just kind of learning more about such talented people we have here in Tulsa. And I cannot say how happy we are as a station, because I know I can speak on behalf of the station and a lot of country music folks that just love having such talent for you guys to actually be here. Even though we're teasing each other, you guys are fantastic. I love your morning show. All right, so I'm going to ask you one more question, then we can kind of split it up a little bit, and then we'll have some questions to ask that are coming in as well. So what would your favorite artist be, and do you like old country and new country, or are you more new or old? Amber, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, man. Okay, Travis, there's a thing you should know about me. I have a hard time answering questions. I know that is difficult being in the broadcast business, but you can ask these guys. I don't answer a question very well. I have a lot of favorite musicians. I grew up on classic rock and folk. My brother is named Dylan after Bob Dylan. So I would say probably that my taste is very eclectic. I'm all over the place. Grace Potter lately I'm super into. I really love Jason Mraz. I'm also a super fan of the latest works by Taylor Swift. There's a band called Sleeping at Last that I simply adore. Ashley McBride, Chris Stapleton. I mean, the list is on and on.
Okay. All right. And Daniel, what about you then? Are you about the same? I mean, do you like old country, new country? What's your second, probably most favorite?
I grew up listening to country, so I still, I like country all through the years. I like new country too. I'm a big fan of Morgan Wallen right now, Luke Combs. As a teenager, this is going to sound odd to you. I used to listen to my mom's 8-tracks, and she had oldies. So when I'm about 16 years old, I listen to oldies exclusively. Do you know how hard it is to get a girlfriend when you pull into school and you're listening to Splish Splash, I Was Taking a Bath? That's like Lady Poison. They hate it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why you are still single then, huh?
I think it was.
Are you still listening to the music?
I listen to it some. I like doo-wop a lot.
Okay.
But I don't know. Have you? No, I don't. I would never reveal that on a date.
Okay. I was just wondering if that was affecting your ability to be married or something. So just.
Have you ever heard that song, Splish Splash, I Was Taking a Bath?
Mm-hmm. I'm old.
It's like a 3-minute song, and it's all about this guy just taking a bath, and all of a sudden he gets out of the bath. There's a party going on in his house. And it was a huge hit.
And it was. It was a massive hit. So, all right. So do you, so you kind of say you'd like everything, but so what is your second most favorite type of music other than, say, country? What'd you say?
I would have to say it would be oldies still, like doo-wop and oldies. I know it's a little boring, but that's I just love that music growing up. I was a big fan of Back to the Future, so that got me interested in 50s music. So I listen to that a lot.
All right, fair enough. That sounds good. Tig, what about you?
Well, first off, I want to thank Daniel for his fascinating answers.
It's a moment.
No, but me and Daniel karaoke, and we stopped karaokeing in Nashville because when you karaoke in Nashville, everybody's good there. So it's not just fun. Like everybody there is almost like great, even at karaoke. So a regular guy doesn't karaoke, but I like some old John Anderson. Daniel used to sing Lionel Richie a lot at the karaoke bars. So I guess we are a little old school, Daniel. I guess that's where we kind of stay if it's not country music.
Okay. Interesting. I'm going to do a quick rapid fire of like 2 or 3 questions. So we'll just make it happen and go a little faster because we do have some questions coming in. All right. What was everyone's first job? Amber, go.
I was a hostess at Olive Garden.
Huh. Daniel.
I was a clerk at a drugstore.
Tig.
I pushed buggies at a grocery store.
Okay, so you're into that. All right, so we just talked about buggies. So we just talked about karaoke. So I'm going to stick with Amber. Karaoke. What would be your most favorite song to sing if you had to do karaoke?
Jules' Foolish Games.
Okay. Daniel?
Probably Hello by Lionel Richie, or lately I've been singing Unbreak My Heart by Tony Braxton.
Interesting. Okay.
Do you touch hearts with song, Travis?
No.
You've never touched hearts with song?
No, never.
we gotta get you out there. Go ahead, Tig.
The Seminole Wind by John Anderson. It's an old song, but I like
Seminole Wind. That was one of my favorites.
It's easy to sing, and people love it. So why not?
Interesting. Okay. Amber, if you had one meal to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Pizza, because you can have it a bajillion different ways.
Oh, interesting. Daniel, can you top that?
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches, or what kind of sandwiches?
Well, I don't want to lock myself into one sandwich, so.
You can only eat one meal, so it's got to be the same meal day after day.
Variety of sandwiches.
Okay, Tig, I see what we're dealing with, or what you're dealing with for the last 12, 15 years.
Can I come work with you?
Yeah. We do need some storm trackers, so it is possible.
I can do that, yeah.
You're going to take the nervous guy on the road to storm track? That sounds like a terrible idea.
Good call, Amber. Good call. Tig, what do you think?
You ever see where they say, like when you're on death row, they let you choose the last meal? And I always said I would choose a cheese tray. So I think that just a variety of cheeses and some meat would be fine with me.
And a glass of wine?
If they gave that to me, I would take it, yes.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to move on for just a little bit here because we're not out of time. We got a few other things I wanted to cover. So I'm going to go to weather for a little bit. We did get quite a few weather questions. We even got a question of somebody that's watching from Fultondale, Alabama, who got hit hard by a tornado on Monday night. There was a teenager that was killed in that. I know of at least 30 injuries. A lot of people were buried alive for a while. They had to get a lot of folks out there. It was a bad tornado early in the season. You guys were in Nashville last year when a very, I say identical, I don't want to say identical, but a similar situation happened where tornado came in early in the season, terrible tornado. You guys were there. What was that like? I mean, have you witnessed very many events of that magnitude before?
Well, Travis, we were in Nashville at that point, and I don't know if you remember a few years before, tornadoes had hit Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is where we're from, and devastated that region. I mean, dozens of people did not survive that. And then later on, you're right, last year, before the pandemic started, tornadoes came through Nashville. And I drove down there, and Travis, I just could not wrap my brain around the devastation. I thought I was going to go down there and pass out water to people who were still hanging out in their homes and things. And it didn't even dawn on me, Travis, that the people who were in these homes, even if they were only halfway put together still, they were gone. They were at the shelter. So what I expected was to see a bunch of people that were very upset that they'd lost their homes, but those people had left because they really had no place to stay anymore anyway. And so the people I encountered were all volunteers. And it was a lot of really, even down to basic stuff, moving trees out of the street just so vehicles could bring relief somewhere. I mean, it was utter devastation. And Travis, to answer your question, I've never seen that. It's one thing to read it and hear about it and see it. And then when you go there in person, it's totally different. And it really I was crushed. I just could not believe that human beings were enduring something so painful and just a tornado. You just think you see it on TV, and then to see it like that was just totally different.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that, we do fear that in Oklahoma. It's one of those things I don't want people to fear, here. And you guys can ask me a couple of weather questions here in just a little bit. But Daniel, was there obviously a big turnout because there's millions of dollars worth the artists and folks that are there, kind of big folks that probably came to the rescue of a lot of the Nashville part. But that tore up Nashville pretty bad, didn't it?
A lot of damage, and Nashville is such a close-knit town with the country music industry. A lot of people came together, and Nashville's had a rough year or two with the bombing not too long ago, the tornadoes, things like that. But when that kind of thing happens in Nashville, all the artists get together and raise money. It's a pretty strong-knit community. They all kind of bind together to help each other out in these kind of situations.
All right, because do you guys have? I'm going to let you turn the tables just for a little while here, because there's a few more questions that are coming in about you guys. But again, we're talking to the Bull 98.5, our morning team, and of course you have Amber, you have Tig and Daniel. Dude, very many people say Tig. I said Tig when I first met you, and I was like,
well, look, I say Tig half the time too. I don't even know what's going on with that name. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. But Tig and Daniel and Amber from the morning show at the Bull. And again, if you haven't listened, you got to listen to these guys because they are great. I know you guys are kind of getting pushed into a different time zone right now, just like I am when I'm up early in the morning. It's like not quite the perfect time for me. But do you guys have some questions about weather related to like living in Oklahoma, living here compared to, say, the Nashville area or anything else?
I do have one for you. I live in an apartment complex. I'm on I'd say one floor up, not the ground floor, but one floor up. My apartment faces the courtyard. It's kind of like a square. In the event of a tornado, do I need to go down to the ground floor or should I be okay in my apartment here?
Yep, you're right. Go down to the ground floor. You got to make friends with people that live on the ground floor. Some of the best research that has come out is the higher you are up into an apartment complex, the higher the probability of more damage because the winds are basically stronger just off of the surface because there isn't a thing called wind drag right on the surface. That's where the winds are not quite as strong as they are, say, 20 to 50 feet up. So the higher you go in an apartment complex, the more likely you are to sustain more damage. So I always say make friends with the people that are on the lowest floor. And so that you can knock on their door and say, hey, can I come in? Because it is better. I mean, the second, first floor, you could say, well, they're relatively close, yes. I mean, if you're on the third or fourth floor and going down to the third floor, in a whole lot of difference. But if you're on the fourth floor going to the first floor, huge difference. So that's why we want people to start thinking about that because it is tornado season, unfortunately. And so good point. I'm glad you asked that.
How much warning have you guys got it down to now? You guys can you can warn people how many minutes out on average if there's an event like that?
You know, it depends upon the storm. We'll put it that way. So each storm is slightly different. If a storm is developing over Tulsa, could be as little as about 5 to 10 minutes. If a storm has been on the ground, like Oklahoma City ends up with a lot more storms developing out to the west. And then if we get what we call long track tornadoes, which are basically the bigger they are, the easier they are to see, easier are to track. The ones that we have to watch out for are the little bit, usually the smaller ones, what we call EF0s and EF1s, which can just start to spin up under a large thunderstorm within a matter of about 10 to 15 minutes. And so you have to be really, really watching closely to see some of that. And occasionally we'll have what we call microburst, which is a thunderstorm blows up over Tulsa and then it just falls apart over Tulsa. And this microburst just comes straight down with a lot of wind that's almost like a tornado as far as the winds, because you can get winds over 100 miles an hour. And then it just blows out. And those have maybe a minute or two that you might be able to catch before it actually happens. But the tornadoes themselves, roughly about 15 to 30 minutes. It just kind of depends upon the type of tornado and pretty much when I say type, the size of the tornado and how long it's been on the ground. So if it's just starting, about 10 to 15 or longer if it's been on the ground for a while.
Okay, Travis, I have a question.
Okay.
Is that okay, Daniel?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just curious, what's the closest you've ever been to a tornado? So I grew up in Arkansas and we saw them quite a bit. So I'm just wondering, what's the closest you've ever been?
You know, the closest was probably about a block. And believe it or not, I grew up in southern Nebraska and I grew up in a farm community and we were doing wheat harvest. And the wheat harvest we were taking our last load of wheat in. And then there's, in small rural farm communities, there's places called taverns. And it's just where all the farmers went and had a beer because a lot of them were German and all Germans love their beer, basically. I'm speaking for a lot of Germans. But anyway, so everybody go have their, celebrate the end of the wheat harvest and stuff. And we were there. And so I can't even remember. I think I was playing pool because there was a pool table out there. And all of a sudden, there was this huge tree that starts to fall. And so we look out and there's literally the tornado is just a block away near the grain elevator. And everybody's screaming and running. And there's a basement under there. So we got there. So that was my first glimpse. And I was probably about 12 or 13 for the first time that I really saw a tornado. And that was way too close. So after that, my interest in meteorology just blew up big time.
Did you have a favorite meteorologist when you were growing up? I remember the meteorologist in my town growing up. His name was Barry Brandt, and I thought he was the best. So did you have a meteorologist that you just idolized?
Yes, there were two of them. One was goofy and one was straight lace. And the goofy guy, every time he got a forecast wrong, they'd take an umbrella and take the hook of the umbrella, which would be that you'd hold on to, and they'd grab him around the neck and pull him off while he was doing the end of the forecast. And that was how they proved that his forecast was wrong from the day before. So it was a goofy thing, but I was like, man, I could do that. It's like if he's doing that. And then there was another guy in Lincoln, Nebraska. His name was Bob Kinney, and he was an extremely intelligent, very smart person. I said, oh, my goodness, I want to be like him because he really knew a lot about meteorology. So there was the goofy side and the fun side, and I kind of said, well, maybe in the middle. I don't know. Maybe that's a good place. But those were the two people I drew a lot of experience from, and that's why I'm a weather person, I guess. I don't know. Good question, though. Anything else while we got that before we move on?
Are you ever able to take a day off? Because, like, I imagine a hairdresser, whoever he or she would be, they can't stop staring at people's hair, even if they are not working. Are you able to go outside on a day off and not consider weather or think, oh, boy, here comes a storm? You know, like, do you ever get to do that?
No. It is, and the reason is because since I live on a ranch, it's like the first thing I do is make sure that the weather has to be good. And if the weather isn't good, like today, I was out earlier this morning feeding cattle, and it's muddy and it's nasty. And so every day is like, and then you're wondering, did it snow much? I didn't want to go to sleep because I was watching the radar last night. And then I got up early this morning because I wanted to see if it had snowed or not, and if we had a dusting or not, and checked in with Alan and Stephen on the morning show, and then I look outside. And so my life is 24/7 weather. And, after doing the weather this long, a lot of people say, aren't you tired of doing the weather? And it's like when you love being outside, and I love being outside. And it's almost a problem because it's like, I want to be outside. And I love growing things. I love making things happen on the side. And so I'm 24/7 weather. And yes, someday I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go say, okay, this has got to be enough. I got to quit this because it's almost like it's a weather, I call it weatherism. I don't know. It's like I'm just stuck on weather. So, but I love it and I'm not ready to quit yet. We'll put it that way.
I've got a couple of softball questions here for you. Who, in your opinion, is the worst meteorologist in the Tulsa area?
Well, that'd naturally be me, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want anybody to know. So, all right. Pretty obvious.
Another softball. What are you knocking down a year over there?
Well, you're paid on the number of times you're right. So I owe the company my soul. What was that? Who was that? Big John? He owes his soul to the company store or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember. That was an old time song. But yeah, so when you're paid when you're right, it's like that's why, that's why I'm still trying to farm and eke out a living on the side.
Now, you're not really considering retiring, are you?
No, that's not in the foreseeable future. But as you get older, you have to start being a little bit more intelligent on your decisions. Like me jumping over a fence, that's not going to happen anymore. And I just wrecked probably my ACL, so I'm going to have to find some time to do some surgery on that. And so I'm not happy about that. So I've got a few things that I'll have to take care of on the side. And so I've just got to be a little bit smarter because out on a farm or ranch, you're jumping. I was on a tall ladder just the other day, and we've had two people one at our TV station, one at our sister TV station, Oklahoma City, fall off ladders, putting up Christmas lights or cleaning out gutters. So it's like, I don't want to become the third victim of that. So, but I mean, it's like, you got to start being a little bit smarter, right? I'm still rambunctious and I got to calm that down just a little bit.
Well,
Travis, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I will. If I get some help from my teenage boys, which are always gone. And that was a story we started to talk about before we were on the air. And I can't continue that story because then my blood pressure goes up. So teenage boys are crazy. That's all I'm going to say. All right, go ahead, Amber.
Travis, do you have a favorite restaurant in Tulsa? Like if I said you could go eat anywhere tonight, where would you want to eat?
I love Freddy's Steakhouse. That is one of my favorite. And Bluestone Steakhouse. I like steaks. I love shrimp. And so that's why I'm going to go with the boys from Alabama back down there. And we're going to have a shrimp company. That's my if you walked into that restaurant, how many people would stop and talk to you? Because I bet you don't get to go anywhere without people stopping you and like talking to you and wanting to get their picture. Yeah, they do. But you know what? When you're a weather person and you get humbled every day, and I mean, literally in real truth, you get humbled every day in this job. You can't ever, a lot of times people can kind of feel like, oh yeah, I've turned into somebody, but you're nobody then, and that was something somebody told me, said, the day that you think you're somebody, that's the day you're nobody in this business. And weather keeps each one of us extremely humble. Because just about the time we think that we're right, or I'll tell Stacia, oh no, that's going to be 75 instead of 65. And then the next day it's 65. And it's like, oh my gosh, after all these years, how did I miss that so far? So it's a very humbling experience to have to do that day after day. And so I don't mind when people come up and talk to me because I just appreciate the fact that they're willing to watch us, watch our station. And I love our people here at this station. I mean, you guys just add to that group of people that care about Tulsa, that care about what we're doing. And so it just makes it so much nicer. And, it's our weather staff's the same way. It's like I only hire people that have a heart for what they're doing. And it's been a blessing because if you look at Ellen Crone, Steven, Stacia, Kendall, Sawyer, who's sitting right next to me, I mean, each of these people are just dedicated to what they do. And then they also, it's kind of like a big group family. And so I love that type of attitude and thought process because it fits in with our company as well. So that was a long answer there. Sorry, I got carried away. I guess there was a question. Go ahead.
One more weather-related question.
Okay.
How do you know when you found the one?
You know what? I thought, without going into great detail, I am divorced. Been divorced for about 6 years. And so I decided, I said, you'd think you'd have figured that out by now. So it's very trying when you're older at my age, I will say that much, to have to be dating. But I did have the opportunity to run into somebody who is like me, which is really good and really bad because I'm a type B person. So all my staff, they'll agree I'm a type triple B probably because I'm pretty laid back on most things and go, yeah, okay, we'll get that. But I wanted to find somebody that was similar to me and who appreciated values of working and also values of family. And I found somebody, so I'm very excited and haven't really told anybody, but the plan is to hopefully get married in the fall if COVID stuff is gone. So I'm going to go ahead and mention that out loud. I've only mentioned that to my staff, but that's...
What?
Wait a minute, was that breaking news?
That is, yeah. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's at least in my little world it is. So
cheers! Yay, Travis! Congratulations!
Thank you. So we're going to try one more time. We're just going to
say congratulations, Daniel.
He's shocked. He's like,
Travis, I don't know if you should do this. What are you going to get married again for? You already got a divorce. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. That's and it is heartbreaking. And my biggest thing is for families after what I went through, and I have 4 kids, and every family that goes through the divorce process it is just heartbreaking for me, especially now, because it pretty much shattered my family. And each of my kids, even though some of them are older and younger, it makes a huge impact. And then when you're trying to work and do a decent job at your job and you're worried about your kids and worried about this and that, it's pretty rough. And I always want people to stop and think. And I mean, I'm not going to go into a preaching moment, but I will say that, I wish I'd have spent a little bit more time looking for some help rather than being a tough guy and trying to pretty much say, we can get through this, we'll handle this. And, you can't do that on your own sometimes, especially in today's world. So I really, for anybody who's listening, watching, I just hope and pray that you guys take a second look for help before you do something that you'll regret, because it's a big process, and especially for children. So I'm going to throw that out there just because been there, done that, and don't want to ever do that again, because that was probably the most heartbreaking moment that I've ever had to go through in my 60 plus years of life. So kind of interesting on that side, but I'm happy now. So you got more than you bargained for on that one, didn't you?
Yeah, that was quite the answer. I proposed to I know, I'm sorry. I proposed to a lady once, Travis. I asked for her hand in marriage and she said no. She turned me down. I had to return the ring to the store.
Well, you got your money back.
Yeah, thank God I was able to get that money back.
It's not his pride.
Pride gone. But hey, at least I'm not going to have to make payments on something important or on a ring. So.
I'm all right now, though, because I looked her up the other day on Facebook, and now she looks like Jay Leno. So I think I dodged a bullet.
But that is true, because if you look at your friends, I'm going to tell you this. If you look at your friends or somebody that you might have dated in your past, and then you look at them now and you go, whoa, wow. And then you look in the mirror and go, oh, I see. Yeah, that probably is. Yeah, okay, I see why that would be looking like that. But it is amazing when you get at my age and you still think that you're young. And then you look in the mirror, and then you also look at some of the people you had dated in your past, and you're just like, wow, there is a difference. So remember, you're stuck with them for life, or I want you to be stuck with them for life. So make good choices, Daniel. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, she probably looks at my picture and goes, man, that guy looks like Kathy Bates.
Yeah. Well, Ty, do you want to add to that? Because you have probably a better visual on Daniel on a daily basis than Amber.
Well, he does look like Kathy Bates, but he hurts my feelings because he says I look like Steve Buscemi. I don't know if you know who that is, Travis.
No.
But it's not a compliment.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. Okay. And what about you, Amber? You got any words of wisdom for Daniel?
My words of wisdom for Daniel are, bro, you just keep doing you. That's it. Just.
Well,
I think Daniel has probably made a wise decision for himself to stay single.
Is that? I don't know. Is that backhanded compliment? I don't know how it works. No. Okay.
Oh, I think she's right. It is probably a good idea for me to be alone.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's why. Yeah, I took my sweet time this go around because I just wanted to make sure I found the one that I truly, felt the closest to and in love with. And I tell you, people who do quick turnarounds on relationships, that doesn't work. Because, you're not taking time to really look at the person and look at how everything fits together and trying to melt families together. Oh, my gosh. So there's so many things and complications that go on. So that's why stay married, or at least try to stay married, stay happy, because it's a work in progress for everybody.
And what's her name and address?
I'll just give her first name's Rose, but okay, that's all I'm giving you. So I don't want you to tell her anything about this. She's driving back from Dallas right now. So.
Okay. All right. Well, it's between just us and everyone watching.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And I really believe
Travis, will you agree to this? Can me, Amber, and Ty throw a bachelor party for you somewhere here in Tulsa?
Yes. If it's really low key, to remember that I'm getting older, so I can only handle so much.
All right. We'll do that.
1 glass of wine, about 3-ounce pour, and then then I'm fall asleep. Or you know how that happens when they shut the lights off on that advertisement, and they shut the lights off, and then the guy falls into the soup and falls asleep. That was from a commercial from not long ago. So that would be me. So don't shut the lights off. Is all I'm saying on that. And then we're good to go and ready to happen. All right. I know we're gonna have to wrap up in a few minutes here. I want to ask you guys. I have 2 more questions I wanted to ask you guys. And I got to find it real quick because I passed over it when we were earlier. Do you have like favorite shows that you like to watch? Real quick question. What is your most favorite show to watch on TV or binge watch or on Netflix or whatever? And Daniel, since you're on screen right now that I see you, what do you think?
The latest thing I binge watched was The Queen's Gambit. That's really good.
Okay.
I was a big Breaking Bad fan. Did you like Breaking Bad when it was on?
That was good.
That was a great one.
Okay.
And Money Heist. I've been watching Money Heist, which I think is a show from Spain, and it's very popular.
Oh, okay. You went to Spain to see that, though. Wow.
No, I watch it here. It's made in Spain.
Okay, fair enough. Amber, what about you?
I'm obsessed with The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and The Great British Bake Off. So those are probably my 2 most watched.
Okay. Titan?
I only watch News on 6.
Yeah, okay. He wins.
Okay.
All right, make sure he gets a gift card.
No, but the first 48, I love that show. Do you know the first 48, Travis?
Yes.
Where they got 48 hours to kind of like figure out, and a lot of times it's in Tulsa. Yeah. And so I've been kind of hooked on that too. So. All
right. So as we start to wrap up, give me an idea from what you have seen, and I mentioned this a little bit ago, but what you have seen from Tulsa that you like the most, even though we're in COVID. And you okay there?
Good, sorry.
Were you just trying to get your hair to look a little bit better?
I'm trying to cover my face up, to be honest.
I see.
Yeah.
But anyway, what would be even though we're COVID covered, what was your first impression of Tulsa, and what do you like most about it?
I think I could go first. I like the restaurant scene here. You guys have so many wonderful restaurants. I think it rivals Nashville, the restaurant scene here. I was also very impressed with Gathering Place and all the parks. Tulsa just seems like a city that cares about itself, and it has some really beautiful places. And even, from all the murals to those parks, the Riverwalk. I mean, it just seems like a great place to live. I can't believe more people aren't moving here, to be honest.
Well, and it probably will happen here, especially if we get the long-term thing going on. Ty, do you feel the same way, or is there something different that you thought about that you like?
Nashville was a cool town, obviously.
Yeah.
It's happening. But when we came to Tulsa, in my life, and you've been through this too, Travis, so I wanted to know where I could raise a son. And I got here, and I thought, I could totally do it here. And there's less traffic. And there's a lot of parks. So I was like, this can work, So we really have enjoyed our time in Tulsa.
Okay, good. And then Amber, and I know that you already been here for a long time, but what's your favorite thing about Tulsa? And,
besides the food, I mean, we really do have some killer restaurants here. And I love that there's so many locally owned restaurants here. It's really nice. But the music scene and the art scene, I was not expecting when I moved here. I mean, Tulsa has a really great arts and music scene. And I miss Canes more than I can even tell you. Like, I miss it in my soul. I need us to be able to be back to live music so bad.
That it is amazing to think that our city, everybody's, I guess, is shut down. I went to the BOK to see a Ice Oilers game, and you had, you sat 20 rows from anybody else. I mean, this is just about as bizarre, I would imagine, and everybody knows that. But just to think that all these venues and Canes, oh my gosh, you guys have you even had a chance to walk in Canes yet, Daniel or Ty?
No, not yet. I've been into Raising Cane's, the chicken finger restaurant, but not Cane's Ballroom.
Yeah, that doesn't count. But I mean, it's literally, if we just were able to walk in the back door, it's a half a block away from our station. And I mean, the history there is just stunning about that. So, I mean, I guess that's our little part of Nashville. I guess that's all we got for you. But there's a lot of history. And the big building going up right next to it, that'll have the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, isn't it, for Music Hall of Fame? That's just kind of just getting the skin, I guess, put on the outside of it right now. So that's probably another year away from opening. So really excited about that. All right. Last thing I want to say as we start to wrap up, you guys, thank you for coming to Tulsa. Amber, thank you for keeping control of these two, for sure.
I do my best.
I'll be praying for you as we go forward. But to everybody who is watching this live, or that will be watching it here hopefully in the future, because we're going to post this as well. So if you missed a few parts, we'll be posting that in different locations. We just want you to know 98.5 The Bull. And I'm going to give you guys each one last parting shot of what you would like to say to folks watching, or folks that will be watching this in the coming weeks or so, of about the pretty much just about the radio station and what you love about it. And Amber, since you're on screen right now, go.
I would just say to keep in mind that anytime you listen, especially to our morning show in the mornings on 98.5 The Bull, that everything you hear is authentic. If we tell a story about our lives, it is not exaggerated. It is 100% true. And I love that about us. It's probably, I think the only thing we have going for us is that we're really authentic. So I'll give you that.
Okay, good. Ty, I'm going to go to you first this time around.
I'm sorry, I'm not very attractive.
Is that why they always say you're on? You've got a face for radio. What is that? That is the statement that I think you are very from a guy to a guy. You look good even in that sweater. I would just say that.
Well, thank you. Should I take it off now, or just leave it on for the?
No, let's go ahead and just leave it on for a little bit longer until we're out of the picture. I think Daniel would appreciate it.
Because you asked, I'll do it for you.
Okay.
All right.
Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, we when we got to the Bull, we were extraordinarily excited to be here, and we just Daniel and I have been doing this for a while, and we just decided that we're just going to be real, man. Like, if I have a bad day, I had things happen to my family recently. I'm just not going to hide that anymore. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get to know you guys. We care about you guys. You call us, you tell us your stories, and we really want to connect with the community and just be real. Because I think right now, with the situation that's happening across America, it's been a tough time for this country. And, we just want to be real and let people have a forum for themselves to let other people know how they feel, and that we can all sort of get through this together.
Amen on that. And Ty, I'm not going to go in great detail, and I don't want you either, but I know that when you just said that you're sharing personal things, yesterday morning, you shared something extremely personal on TV, on radio. And I was taken aback when I found out about it, and that you did that. And so if you would, without going into great detail, I just share like what you said about what just happened, if you would.
So we've all been nervous about the pandemic, and you think, we recognize it's dangerous, but you just hope that doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
Because you're using. But I mean, I think, Travis, to be honest, I think we've all kind of cheated on the rules. I mean, I've gone and done stuff like played cards or went to a restaurant maybe, but I lost my father to COVID-19 yesterday morning. And that's obviously a devastating loss. And I don't want to people who are watching think that means that I didn't have a relationship with my father. I had an extraordinarily close relationship. He just called me for my birthday. But to me, this is therapeutic. I want to come to work, but it's a reminder too that, man, when you think it can't happen to you, it really could happen to you. And he was otherwise pretty good to go and got to COVID-19. And he did lose his battle with it yesterday morning. So it's just a reminder. I'm not going to preach, but, wear your mask. Don't get other people sick. And I think that's what we're fighting here,
It is. And I appreciate you. I just appreciate when you said real, and that came to mind. I wanted to just mention that because that's as real as it gets. And I know country people, and including myself, I'm not anti-mask at any point, but there's a lot of country folks that just go, I don't need that dang mask, I don't need a face diaper, I don't, whatever the folks are calling it and all that. But everyone gradually gets picked up or gets awful close to this. And so if we can just make it a couple more months, I mean, granted, it's by the end of the summer, they said that we'll be through that, but your story to me resonates a lot. And I've been humbled a couple of times. This story humbles me with what happened to you and your family. Prayers for you and your family and everything else, because that's obviously a big deal, and for you to share that as well. But I also think it's probably not preaching. It's just something, though, if we can do one thing to help the medical people and to help the elderly people, I guess, like me, I'm talking about my own self, I guess, in this. But it's just one of those things that I just hope everybody just hang in there just a little bit longer and don't be upset about some of these things. And Tig, I'll just say thank you again for your honesty on that. Daniel, I'm going to end with you on this. Can you give us an uplifting thought process of what you think about the radio station?
Well,
things you guys do.
As Tig said yesterday, it was tragic news, and he had gotten it just before he went on the air, and he kind of did it's like a small obituary, kind of said, talked about how he was feeling. People reached out from all over Tulsa, all over Oklahoma, really writing him on Facebook. I mean, I've never seen such a huge outpouring of love to somebody that just started in an area. And I mean, everybody's been so nice. We were really surprised at just how nice and genuine everybody's been. Normally when you start in a new market, people call you and they cuss you out and they tell you they don't like you and things like that. We haven't had a single person that's called and been anything other than cordial and great. Everybody's been wonderful. Everybody in the company's been great. It's even though Tig dresses like the old man in the sea, people are still nice to him. And we really appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
Oh, that's awesome. And you guys, again, for everyone who's been with us or who will see this on video as we go through time here. Again, thank you so much for sharing with us. You guys, Amber, Tig, Daniel, I love these moments where we can just talk and kind of find out a little bit more about you. Obviously, you share some of that on TV or on radio. I keep saying TV, but on radio. And so your morning show, exactly what hours does it go?
6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Okay. So for anybody who's going to be there on the radio that wants to listen to that after watching some 6 in the morning and turn on the radio and be able to get you to work or just want to listen to some fun things, you guys, I hope that you share with 98.5 The Bull, Amber, Tig, and Daniel. Again, you guys, thank you so much for being with us. And I also want to thank everybody else for being with us on this Wild Weather Wednesday, because this has been a special time. So you guys, I appreciate it, and appreciate everybody who is willing to just sit and watch this for as long as we've had it up. And if you want to share it with some of your friends, we'd love to have that happen. Don't forget, you can always check in with them, and that's Monday through Friday. You guys are doing that. And occasionally you guys have to be on the weekend too, right, Amber?
We're on Saturday morning as well. So we're Monday through Saturday, 6 to 10.
Oh, my goodness. 6 days a week. That's impressive. So you guys, thank you again for your dedication, for your work, for who you are. And I hope that you get a lot of folks that understand that this is a special, special group of people for the morning show that get you through your morning, make you smile. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Travis, thank you. And I love you very much.
Okay. Group hug from 6 feet apart. Is that okay?
Hug. Way to make it weird, Tig.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And we kind of expected that out of Daniel, but we'll just let that go.
Before we let you go, Travis, they did get us. They gave us cutouts of you, and Todd Leapike has his cutout there. Then he's.
I have mine too.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I put a dress on you, brother.
Oh,
that's one of my wife's dresses. What are you doing wearing my wife's dress, man?
I'm sorry. It was just the only thing that was there.
You're a sick puppy.
Daniel, you didn't do anything terrible, did you?
I have mine. It's in the background here, but I'm just worried that I'm going to meet somebody or something, and then a lady's going to come over to my house, and I've got this here. I'm going to be alone forever, thanks to Travis Meyer.
Yep, that could really kind of wreck the moment of you actually getting a good date. We'll put it that way. So
I was shocked that these are anatomically correct.
Yeah, well, if I had that few wrinkles, I'd be really, really happy with that. So I don't know what that is, but that's some good photoshopping. I got to go get my face fixed, apparently, because that's way too young looking. Hey, you guys, I don't know where those came from, but again, thank you. Thank you. You bet. And everybody, again, if you get a chance, please join us tonight at 5, 6, 9, 10. Also, as we look on into the morning show tomorrow morning, 6 to 10. Guys, have a great afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Travis.